Welcome. This is your makeup classes. I'm going to combine your last few makeup classes for the end of the semester for my animation class and also for my Art 1 course because we're almost towards the end. And also because these two classes are studying the same concepts. In my animation course, you're going to finish up your unit on backgrounds. And so you are looking at atmospheric perspective and linear perspective. You're doing the same thing in Art 1, just a simplified version. So I'm going to talk about the same concepts in both classes. This will make it a little bit easier. So let's look first at my animation course. I'm going to go to coursework, and we left off, I believe, at week 11, which is atmospheric perspective. So it just so happens in my Art 1 course, let me go back up to Unit 3. In week 11, we are doing the exact same thing, atmospheric perspective, which is why I decided to work on both of these at the same time in this makeup class. There we go. Here's an example of atmospheric perspective. So what atmospheric perspective is, similar to linear perspective, is it's showing depth in an image. In a two-dimensional image, it's showing the illusion of depth. Linear perspective shows that with lines and showing that objects that are closer to you are larger, and that you can show in lines with a vanishing point or two vanishing points or three, depending on how many you're using, but in simple one-point perspective with one vanishing point, that objects recede and they work sort of on a mathematical measurement in a perfect formula to show you depth. Atmospheric perspective, on the other hand, shows with color and value that things recede in the distance and give the illusion of depth. So in this example, this painting, which I'm having a hard time fitting on the screen, shows atmospheric perspective, which is the phenomena that things that are closer to you are darker and more vibrant and colorful. Things that are farther away are lighter and grayer, right? So let's look at some other examples for you. I'm going to pull up, and this is my Art 1 course, but I'm going to show you some simple examples. Here's a really simplified drawing example. So if you're showing me a mountain range in atmospheric perspective, show me some overlapping mountains in the sky. Then the simplest way to do this in grayscale value is to show me the closest mountain darkest and grayer and lighter, and lightest the farthest you get away. Am I saying this right? So if this was a value scale, this would be a darker, and then this would get progressively lighter until you get to the farthest away. This is the simplified version using a grayscale. So for my Art 1 class, you're going to show me the concept of atmospheric perspective in a drawing with a simplified mountain range. That's the easiest way. The concept of overlapping also shows the illusion of depth. So these mountains overlap, meaning this one is in front of, this one is behind, this one is behind. Overlapping also shows the illusion of depth. Here's some more creatures that are overlapping. Here's another example in this forest with the trees of atmospheric perspective. The closest tree to us is darkest and more vibrant. If this were in color, this would have the most color. The farther the trees get away from us, the lighter and grayer they will be. Okay, so for your Art 1 assignment, and this can also be for my animation course as well, you can do the same thing. You draw me a simple overlapping mountain range. And you're going to show me atmospheric perspective by making the closest mountain the darkest value and the farthest away mountain to be the lightest value, and the sky should be the lightest of all. You can do this in color or you can do this in black and white. You can add some trees if you want to be fancy. You can add clouds if you want to be fancy. Right, that's your atmospheric perspective assignment, and then of course you have your discussion in your journal. Let me flip back over to my animation class. Your project this week is to do the same thing. I have a little bit more advanced options for you. You can do the simplified version like my Art 1 class if you want, or my Art 1 students can do the advanced version. So you can see in a real actual photograph this phenomena of atmospheric perspective, where the mountains that are closest to you are darkest, and the farther away they get from the viewer, the lighter and grayer, it's a kind of a blue-gray they get. So if you go outside and look, you should be able to see this. The only time this phenomenon doesn't work is it depends on where the sun is. So if the sun is setting or rising, it can mess with this phenomena a little bit, meaning that if the sun is coming up over the mountains, sometimes the sun will be in your eyes and play a trick with your eyes and make sometimes the mountain that's farther away a little bit darker. So in the correct lighting situation, this will be the truth about atmospheric perspective. Okay, so in grayscale, this is what it would look like. Here's linear perspective, where things that are closest to you are taller, larger, things that get farther away get smaller. They also are darker and lighter and grayer. So this is both atmospheric and linear perspective in example right here. Notice the lines in the road are larger and farther apart and smaller and closer together. So whenever you're drawing a road, be aware of that. Here's your vanishing point right here. Okay, so to draw this assignment, if you want to do it on paper, this is your options. If you want to do this on your drawing software, of course, you know you can use any drawing software that you prefer. I have an advanced option for you where you can follow step by step to draw this landscape, to add in atmospheric perspective, or do the simplified one like I showed you before, like this. It's up to you. It depends on what kind of background you want and what your ability level is at. Follow step by step and make this exact one, or make up your own beautiful example, which I know that you can all do. So just make sure that what I want to see is that you understand atmospheric perspective, which is that the objects that are closest to us are the brightest and darkest, and the farthest away are going to be the lightest and grayest. Okay, so here's some ideas for you on how you would draw that. Okay? It's a great example here. All right, so good luck with your atmospheric perspective projects for both of my classes. I'm going to try to move on and fit in also some perspective. So I'm still in my animation course. Let's look at weeks 12 through 14 because that will finish up our semester. And then you will be looking at your portfolio, which will be our semester final. So for animation for weeks 12 through 13, you're going to be looking at 1-point and 2-point perspective. And I have some simple projects for you to do that with. For week 12, what you'll be completing for me is a 1-point city project. And I give you several days to draw this. So you're looking at just a 1-point vanishing point drawing. So click on the left sidebar to get your idea. And I'm going to give you the basics, the skeleton of what I want you to draw, and then it's up to you to add the details that you want. It's your city. You can make any of the details that you want. So it doesn't need to look exactly like the one I'm showing you. But here's step by step on how you would do this. Of course, use drawing software or pen and paper. Like always, you're going to make a 1-point perspective drawing, so you only make a horizon line with one vanishing point. Draw your road coming right straight down the middle, and then start to add in your buildings. Follow step by step slowly. So you're going to add in each side of the building that's facing the viewer. Add in the edges, orthogonal edges, those are called, which would be the lines that connect each corner to the vanishing point, and then you come back in and erase. So first you add them in, then you erase them away, the parts that we actually don't see. And then continue to add buildings along your street. In this case, they all seem to be the same height. You don't have to do that. You can add buildings that are separate heights. You can have skyscrapers, you can have 1-story buildings. This is your city. So you can add details. You can add windows, doors, you could add people. This is for you to decide. Here's a building that's a little bit different. Okay, so follow this tutorial and make the city interesting. Here's the way that you would add buildings and doors. Remember, every line that you make needs to follow along to the vanishing point. Don't just start drawing lines that don't make sense. So I will be able to see it right away if you start just adding windows and doors without using your vanishing point. So make sure you line up even the windows and doors to the vanishing point. And then of course the sides of your windows and doors need to be completely vertical. All right, so follow these directions carefully. See if I have examples of finished cities for you. Here we go. This is where it gets elaborate. All right, turn it in when you're done. That's your 1-point city. Then we're going to get into 2-point drawings for weeks 13 and 14. You're going to start off simple for week 13 with 2-point structures. Just like we did with 1 point, you have some exercises on how to draw in perspective with 2 points. Okay? So 2-point perspective means that you're going to start with drawing with 2-point instead of 1. So first off, start with your horizon line and make your vanishing point, and then add a second one. We're going to get fancy, so add 2 vanishing points this time. And instead of just lining up to 1, now you're going to get fancy and line up to 2. So start off simple and just try to do 1 letter and see if you can pull this off, and I will help you if you need it, but just follow each direction carefully. Don't worry, it's really not that hard. You just need to follow the directions. And then we're going to go a little more advanced and try to draw an everyday object. This is going to help you in your backgrounds when you have objects in your animations that you want to actually draw. This should be a review from my Multimedia 1. We did 1-point perspective, so now we're getting fancy. We're going to add in 2-point, and then you're going to draw a house and a fence. So complete these 3 for me. So you got some sketches to do for week 13, which is 2-point. Lots of little sketches. You can do these all on 1 page. Take a picture, turn them in, or draw them with your digital drawing. You have your artist day journal and your discussion. And then week 14, of course, is your 2-point city. So this is your last challenge of the semester before you do your portfolio. So taking everything that you've learned in your backgrounds, you have your journal and your discussion, of course. Let's look at your project. Okay, so similar to what you did before with your 1-point city, this time you're going to draw me a corner of your city. So start with a horizon line. That's where you start, and then you're going to make 2 vanishing points. This one you can't see. I don't know why it got cut off. So that's where you start, and then you're going to start with drawing the corners of your buildings. So start with a simple cube, and then you connect each line to the vanishing point on the side. Does that make sense? Just follow this. If you have not done this before, just simply follow this drawing. Just copy it the best that you can. If you've already had experience with it, then you can get fancy and start designing your own. But follow every direction on this tutorial. Let's just make it really simple for your first point. Okay, start with number 1, number 2, number 3. Make it really simple, and you don't have to add in these. You can change all the lettering, of course. But do your best. Don't worry. This is for you to learn. So I look forward to seeing what you get for me this next unit in perspective. Remember, these are going to be the backgrounds to your animations, so they need to look like they're in a real place. So do your best. Let me know if you need help, of course. Okay, let's look at Art 1 to finish up. So after your atmospheric perspective, your next few weeks are looking at 1-point perspective. This is a simplified version of what we're doing in my animation course. That one's much more advanced, of course. So you're going to continue to work with 1-point perspective. In the tutorial, I want you to walk through this tutorial. You don't actually turn it in, but it helps you. It's an interactive tutorial on week 12, where you go step by step on finding out where the vanishing point is and identifying all the parts of 1-point perspective in drawing. So the vanishing point is actually right in the middle. There it is. There it is. click on the vertical line that shows the back wall. Right there. Okay, so that's your tutorial. Walk through all the steps on that. Here's your project I'm going to show you. You're going to start with this week doing a circles project. So you're going to show me some three-dimensional circles. So this is an example of what they'll look like, but these are obviously arrows and triangles. So we're going to do the same thing but with circles that come out at you in 3 dimensions. So you will start by drawing circles on your paper, really simple. Then you'll add a vanishing point somewhere in the middle of your circles. Then what you'll do is you'll add lines that connect the edges of each circle to your vanishing point. Use a ruler. Simple. Then you will finish these off by turning your circles into cylinders by erasing the lines that connect to the circle and adding a curved line. This part's really important. You have to curve the line. Don't draw a straight line. That doesn't make sense. You have to curve this line that chops off the end of your cylinder. So now you have these little cylinders. They sort of look like glasses or cones. You could put something in. And that's your finished project for the week. So you'll finish that, turn that in for week 12. Week 13 is similar. You're going to do the same type thing, but you're going to do this with cubes. So instead of circles, you'll draw me cubes. So I have a tutorial again for you on how to draw a cube in 1-point perspective. So walk through the tutorial. This is what it'll look like when you're done. In your project, which I'm accessing over here on the left sidebar, is to draw me cubes in 1-point perspective. This is the materials you will need. You will take a photograph when you're done and turn it into me. So you're going to draw me an actual cube, a 3-dimensional cube. And that's what it looks like when you're done. You can draw more than one. This is what it should look like. If you want to color it in solid, you can. Or you can just leave it in black and white. Okay, turn that in for week 13, and our last week before your portfolios is week 14. This one I think you'll enjoy. You're going to draw your name in 1-point perspective. Okay, so taking everything that you've learned in this whole unit, having your circles and your cubes and everything coming out in 3 dimensions, you will draw your name, or someone else's if you want to do this as a gift, in 1-point perspective. So first off, this is what it'll look like when it's done. First off, you will start with drawing your name in block letters. You can do it in bubble shape or blocks, however you want. Make each letter about 3 to 4 inches tall, so use your large paper like this. And then you're going to draw your vanishing point either above or below. In this example, it's below. This is the dot, the vanishing point. Then you will take a ruler or any kind of straight edge and you're going to draw lines to connect each edge of your letter to your vanishing point. Okay, connect the letters to the bottom of the dot. Keep going, and then you're going to start coloring in your letters. You can choose any color theme you want. In this particular one, this is all different colors. Crayons, colored pencils, whichever you prefer, markers. This one's fancy. This person did first and last name with the vanishing point in the middle. All right, color it in. I would use contrasting colors for your shadow. In this one, it's just a lighter version of that color. That's up to you. When you are done, turn it in. So you're drawing 3D version, 1-point perspective of your name. When you're done, please take a photograph and turn that into me, and you actually finished up your semester. Our last unit is your final, which is a portfolio of your work. I'm sorry, not in this class. One last project that you have for the end of the semester for Art 1, and that's your final. For Art 1, let me just look at that really quick. You're going to do one last final, which is a holiday project. So you're going to draw for me, get my classes mixed up. You're going to draw for me a simple holiday poinsettia. So follow these directions here. You can do a different design if you want to draw several or just one. You're going to use contrasting colors with your red and green. That's your final project. And then your very last week of school. for Art 1 is to come back and make up any missing work. I'm giving you guys a break where you can come back and finish up anything that you might have been missing. So in most of my classes I have a portfolio, but I forget for Art 1 I'm giving you guys a week to kind of make up any missing work. Okay, Art 1. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the semester. Thank you so much.